So basically what we're talking about is we're talking about the state of Ubuntu on the cloud. And what we need to do, or what we are currently doing, and maybe where we can improve on getting Ubuntu out into the cloud. This is basically a carryover from the last UDS session where the big action item was to put up a glance server. And we've yet to do that. We're still waiting for the hardware to put that up. So the continuation of the blueprint is that we are going to stand up a glance server that people will consume. Now, Scott, you said that there's some work items that you have related to that?
Well, we can have a read-only glance server at this point, and we couldn't do that prior to Essex, really, but we can do that now. But we won't be able to use it. We're hoping to in OpenStack basically they'll make it so that they can use Ubuntu's glance server and just show images there as if they were installed locally.
Okay. So we do have a glance.ubuntu.com that's been provisioned. There's a inadequate host behind it right now, but as soon as we get the better hardware, that should go live. And one of the things that we will be doing with this as well, and this was discussed in the last meeting, is that we'll publish this information, will be published into Query 2 metadata. So the tools that are going into Cloud Util will help people to be able to find them if for whatever reason, if they want to look at it there. I guess that some of the discussions that I wanted to kind of talk about is for the image. Actually, I want to change this to image types. Are we publishing the right image types for people? And this would be the images that you can find on cloud.ubuntu or cloud-images.ubuntu.com. How many people here actually use those images? Okay. And which ones are you using? Or is it the QCOW images or? I'm sorry, all of them?
No. KVM so
The KVM, the QCOW too? Okay. All right. So
I use whatever Juju is. We're using the Ubuntu file template tools.
okay.
So that was on that. So that's good. Have I seen?
All right. Well, that's kind of where I thought we were publishing the right ones. Is anybody interested in BMDKs? Okay. That's kind of what I figured. I just wanted to make sure.
I don't have what rival means to answer that question. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, considering no one in IRC said anything, I'm going to.
If you're interested in work, what would be useful, I think, in a number of contexts, would be to make QEMU convert support standard in and standard out for at least a couple of those, so that you could download the disk1 image and convert it to one of the targets without the intermediate. Right
So,
now.
as a customer of this or user of this, where's the best place to get a description of those image types that show up on cloud.image.com, cloudimage.ubuntu.com, so that as a new user, not me anymore, but somebody that was like me 6 months ago, would be able to suss out what's the right one to be using?
That's a fair argument, and it's one that I think is where we're really lacking is the documentation on our cloud images. Is if you're not using it in EC2 or on a cloud, it's a little bit vague, and that's definitely an
If you go
area.
to this webpage, it's extraordinarily big.
Yes.
Bordering on opaque.
Okay. All right. And we discussed this in the other in the cloud init discussion. And the cloud unit discussion, we decided that we're going to publish dash disk 1 complete images which were compatible with KVM, which if you also convert them to another format would be bootable. In fact, if you burn them to disk, you could boot bare metal on these things. So we discussed the making Lucid explicitly available with the dash disk 1 images. We didn't hear much argument as to whether or not we shouldn't or should do that. It was just generally that everybody thought we should do that. So I think the consensus was that we're just going to go ahead and do that.
So you would use the public cloud server to replace the cloud image stuff, or just to hold the metadata?
Just as a metadata repository.
And then you would point to the downloads that are in cloud images from clients?
Yes. All right, and so now also kind of along in conjunction with that, what about the root FS images that we currently use for LXC? Do we want to backport the Lucid ones as well?
I wouldn't do that.
And what's the argument
And
against
so you're
it?
actually hitting the point that I actually ran into. I had no idea what to use for LXC.
Which is the root FS?
Well, sort of, yeah. It won't work with Lucid, so
So don't even bother.
yeah. Yeah, the root, what's it called? It's called -root.tar.gz. Yeah, that's just basically a tarball.
Yeah, I got the answer. I know the answer now,
Yeah.
but that's what
No,
generated
it's
the question.
it's completely garbage, yeah. There's way too much stuff up there. That's why anybody suggests producing other types
Another
of disk
image.
images and things, and
Yeah.
I really, don't like it, because it's too confusing as it is.
You need a little JavaScript snippet that says what it is. Probably too much work though.
A simple README would be sufficient at this point, but
Okay.
you generally use this one. In this special case, use this one.
Yeah.
If you have another special case, please ask on Ubuntu server.
Okay. Well, we did do some work making it look pretty this time around, so maybe we need to do some work to make it look functional.
Yeah, I don't care
Yeah,
if it's pretty.
please
This
describe.
works just fine.
Okay. And then I guess then any other comments about the any other comments in regards to the images that we're putting up?
So Scott, are the Cirrus images a special personal project?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just add LTS for special release.
I think my suggestion was for those disk images to just do Lucid.
Yeah, the reason, one of the use cases that cloud fits perfectly is to test some test migration of the setup on a terminal. So if you have a service running on Lucid or something previous to Precise, you can test actually upgrade to Precise before doing a terminal. Simple.
Yeah.
That's why I added this one. LTS to LTS.
Yeah, well, so they exist for on Yerk and Precise. So basically, right now, the only supported release that's missing is Natty.
That's not,
And I just don't really care.
not just LTS.
Yeah.
This Natty is going to end of life in 6 months anyways, isn't it?
Right.
So there's really no, I mean, we want to be encouraging people to move.
Hardy's the other thing I actually
Yeah.
that's more difficult.
Well, what's the difficulty about Hardy?
we would have to add a new kernel to them. They own the images currently, and Hardy only have a -EC2 kernel.
Oh, all right. Okay. So then I guess the last part is publishing the official Ubuntu images on other cloud vendors. Currently, right now, we're on HP, and HP is publishing them. So I don't know if there's really much discussion here. Just, are we in the right places, or there's clouds that we need to be engaging?
Is Rackspace OpenStack Cloud public? That'd be better. Okay.
Rackspace OpenStack Cloud.
It's not public yet. It's in early access.
It probably will work. I mean, maybe gestation languages too, so that's what we're going to support.
They roll their own
Extra languages for a while.
Is there anything you can talk about what that agent does?
Yeah, the
Things
agent's
like,
like,
those things like reset passwords.
Okay.
I mean, they roll their own.
It's open source. It's open source.
They roll their own languages for the existing cloud servers. That's what. Yeah.
But do they have public? Will they export public images? I mean, me making.
Probably export it in the sense that you can do it.
Will they allow me to make public images
Oh, once
as a
once they're
non-admin
running
user?
OpenStack,
Yeah.
They have plans for doing that with their trusted partners, but that's something to discuss with public partners.
Okay.
Not us.
Fine.
Okay. Well, now that Eric just joined and we don't really have much to talk about,
I'm not interested in this one.
Huh?
Am I interested in this one?
We just, I think we've covered everything that I wanted to chat about. It was just very light, so thanks to everybody.
So discussion?
Huh?
Open discussion?
Okay, well, if you have any, yeah. What
About other random things?
Random
I'll
things.
just put out my every 2-year call to see, are people using run URL?
Yeah.
User data scripts? If nobody's using it, then it's fine. I'll just keep using it myself. If it is popular, or that kind of approach seems popular, then I'll push for packaging.
If you want to put that into Cloud Utils, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, it's like really simple.
You rewrote it, so.
Did I? Okay.
It's still shell script, but it could be written in Python. It's a little faster. Is it really do that much?
It would be significantly slower, but
Okay.
seriously, the startup time.
All it does is download something and run it.
Yeah, startup time would be significantly slower than
Okay.
executing a shell script and then a wget.
what's the name of this?
Run URL. It's,
Oh, yeah.
Give an URL. It downloads that, which is presumably a script or a program of some sort.
So W gets it basically.
Runs it with the arguments. So you say run URL, a URL, arguments.
Okay.
And then it comes back with the return code of whatever that command had. But it replaces a few simple commands that you could do yourself.
Sure, it's just quicker.
But if you have user data that has a lot of stuff you're running, you can upload it to S3 for size, or if it's secret stuff, you can upload it to S3, have it expiring URL, you put in user data, it runs it, and then you move on.
Run dash URL in Launchpad.
Run URL, all one word.
All one word, no dash.
There is a PPA for it, the Elastic PPA has it, I think.
Is there some extra magic which makes it better than just putting in a bash curl type bash or something like that?
Not a lot.
Well, it puts it into it.
You could put it in an if statement as a single command.
It doesn't have to be a shell. It's not a. So it's better than pipe into shell for that purpose. But
Yes. It downloads, makes it executable, runs it with the autosets, returns the return code.
But yeah, it's just the convenience really. But
It just makes my sample user data stuff script
Yeah.
slightly smaller, not to go install that
So sure.
The biggest objection I can see is it makes it slightly easier to tell people to do bad things.
Just run URL.
Running somebody else's
Okay.
arbitrary URL is not a good idea.
You could have it emit a prompt and then we need emergency SSH. Yes.
Do GPG validation. Any other?
There's two Earl projects.
All right.
Yeah, the other one's run dash Earl.
Who got it first?
I don't know. First, 210.06.04. And yours is 2009.
Any other cloudy topics?
Can you add an automatic forward bomb to it also? Just call forward bomb, so that's it.
All right. Thank you, everybody.